Good afternoon. My name is Nita, and I'll be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the Capital One Orange Bowl conference call. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question-and-answer session. If you'd like to ask a question during this time, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, press the pound key. Thank you, Mr. Larry Wall. You may begin your conference.
Thank you, Nita. Welcome to this afternoon's call. On the call this afternoon, we have our two head coaches, Dabo Swinney of number 1 ranked Clemson and Bob Stoops of number 4 ranked Oklahoma. Before we get started, media are reminded to apply for credentials and reserve hotel rooms at our media headquarters, the Renaissance Fort Lauderdale Cruise Port. Log on to orangebowl.org/pressbox. The operator will prompt later if you want to ask a question, and press star on your telephone. Also want to let you know that I have our CEO, Eric Palms, in the room, so if you want to ask questions of him, he's available as well. Congratulations to Coach Swinney and Coach Stoops for earning berths in the 2015 College Football Playoff Semifinal at the Capital One Orange Bowl. We're very excited to be able to host these two great programs. Clemson comes into the game ranked first by the CFP Selection Committee with a 13-0 record, champions of the Atlantic Coast Conference, while Oklahoma is ranked 4th at 11-1 overall and champions of the Big 12 Conference. This year's game will be played on Thursday, December 31st at Sun Life Stadium, televised by ESPN at 4 p.m. We anticipate a game featuring offensive fireworks. Both teams average more than 38 points per game. Both are in the top 12 in total offense, and both can also get after the quarterback. They're tied for 5th nationally in sacks, and both rank in the top 15 in pass efficiency defense. This is Clemson's 6th appearance in the Orange Bowl and their 3rd in the last 5 years. They also won their only national championship here in the 1982 Orange Bowl. This will be the 20th appearance for Oklahoma in games hosted by the Orange Bowl. They've completed 4 national championship seasons with an Orange Bowl win. The teams have split 4 games, spanning 1963 to last year, and the last 2 meetings were in bowl games, in the Russell Athletic in 2014 and in the Citrus Bowl in 1989, with Clemson winning both. Congratulations to both schools. We look forward to hosting you both. We'll now turn it over to the coaches for brief remarks before we open it up for questions. First up, Coach Dabo Swinney of number 1 ranked Clemson, which will be the home team in the 2015 College Football Playoff at the Capital One Orange Bowl. Coach Swinney.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Well, we're just really excited to be part of the Capital One Orange Bowl, and proud of our team for the great season that they've had, and just to be the ACC champion and represent this conference, such a prestigious event is something we're excited about. Obviously, a phenomenal opponent in Oklahoma, a Big 12 champion, a great season that they've had. I think that it makes for a tremendous matchup down there in the Orange Bowl, and something I know both teams will be excited about, and look forward to getting down there and being a part of it. So I just want to say thank you for all the hard work that everyone puts into making that a great bowl. Having been there, I know firsthand that it just doesn't get any better, and so we're really excited and honored to be a part of it, and look forward to traveling down, I guess, on the 26th.
Thanks, Coach. And now we'll turn it over to Coach Bob Stoops of Oklahoma, which will be the visiting team.
Yes, as the head coach here at Oklahoma, want to just say how excited again we are to be going to the Capital One Orange Bowl. We know a great host, Miami, and all of the people associated with the Orange Bowl do an incredible job. Excited to play a great opponent in Clemson, who's on a 16-game winning streak. So an excellent and great team. Dabo, Coach Swinney, and his staff do an awesome job. And a team that beat us bad just a year ago, there in our last bowl game. But credit to our players to give us this opportunity to be Big 12 champs. The way they worked, the way they kind of evolved and morphed through the season to improve as we went along, and to give ourselves this opportunity is great. It isn't just about the opportunity. You've got to go down and win, and that's what we'll be focused on here in the next 3 weeks. But everybody's excited about it, And again, credit the players and a great group of seniors and captains that really led this team.
Thank you, Coach. Now, operator, if you want to prompt for questions.
Again, I would like to remind everyone, in order to ask a question, please press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. We will pause for just a moment to compile the Q&A roster. Again, that is star 1.
Go ahead, operator. I think you can take the first question.
Okay, and the first question comes from Gene Sabat.
You guys are underdogs already, 2.5 points, underdogs for the first time this season. I imagine you're not really frightened of that.
Who was that question to?
Dabo.
Okay, yeah, I for some reason I didn't hear the first part of it. You're playing these 4 teams in this Final Four, or you're splitting hairs. I mean, whoever's 1, 2, 3, this really doesn't matter. But all these teams are capable of winning on any given day, and that's why we're in the Final Four. So we'll just try to do the best we can these next few weeks and get a good plan, and we know we're going to have to play our best 4 quarters of the year. That's what these games are all about. You don't have a lot of margin for error, and certainly when you're playing a team that's as hot as Oklahoma, and they're probably playing the best football of anybody in the country right now.
Okay, and your next question comes from Trevor Grove.
Yes, Trevor Groves with CUTigers.com. My question is for Coach Stoops. I was just curious how much of Clemson you've been able to see this season, and obviously last season, the bowl game, you didn't get to face Deshaun Watson, but I was wondering what you've seen from Clemson that's different or similar to what you saw in the bowl game last year.
Well, you see really good football. You see a team that plays really smart, disciplined football. A team that defensively, both last year and this year, has really gotten after it, played really well. We didn't see Deshaun Watson last year, but probably a good thing in that they still beat us bad. But I think he's exceptional. What a great athlete, thrower, runner, everything, poise. The little I have seen from him, I really have a great respect and appreciation for what a quality player he is. So he'll be a challenge to get ready for.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. And your next question comes from Tim Reynolds.
Hi, it's Tim Reynolds with the Associated Press. This question is for Coach Stoops. Bob, so much has been written and said over these last 7 games, but when you guys got back from the Texas game, was there a certain message you had to the team? I mean, so much, I'm sure, gets invested into that game by your kids, the human condition being what it is. Were you concerned that this thing could go south in a hurry, or was there something you pointed out to them to keep them just focused on what was in front of them?
There's no one thing. No one game makes or breaks a season. Although, a big, rivalry game like that for us is important, and we were incredibly disappointed after it. But I thought, I had a talk with the assistant coaches that we have to remain positive. We have to point out areas that we've got to push to improve and make sure we're doing the right things in practice to improve on them. And I thought we did that. We addressed a lot of issues even that week, made a lot of good improvement. And, in a week's time, because no one else has gone to Kansas State, and Kansas State's had a good year. And, to win 55-0 at their place the week after shows you that the players had a really tough mindset and really took to heart the improvement, as did assistant coaches and myself. Areas that we can improve. We've really got to be more detailed with it, and we were able to do that.
And if I could follow up real quick for Dabo. Coach, you guys have obviously won in this building once already this year. Does familiarity help? Did you expect that it could help at all?
No, I don't think that really has anything to do with it. Oklahoma's got a long history of the Orange Bowl. I mean, obviously we played there, but it'll be a split crowd. Be a lot of mixture of orange and red, but it's all about the guys in between the lines. We'll have to play great. Doesn't matter where the game's being played. It's about how we play. But we certainly are excited to be able to go down there and play in such a great venue. It's an awesome track to play on, and we look forward to it.
Thank you.
And your next question comes from the line of Aaron Burnham with Charleston Associates and Coast and Associates.
Yeah, for Coach Stoops, I heard Eric Stryker talking about the differences from last year and a culture change, and even some guys maybe playing with selfish reasons. Can you expound on what the change has been from last year to now?
Well, no, I can't. Sometimes players are in the locker room may sense something different than me, and if you asked 100 guys, you'd probably get 100 different reasons and 100 different reasons why. The bottom line is this team is incredibly close, incredibly tight, very selfless and very motivated, to get us back to being a championship caliber team, and so far we've been able to do that.
The other thing I had for you, your reaction to having to go against Coach Venables again.
Yeah, it's different. Again, when you've been in a foxhole with somebody so closely for so long, I got a great appreciation, of course, respect for Brent, and I know Dabo does now as well. He's done a great job for him. So I'm excited for him, happy for him that he and they have had so much success. But once you tee it up and tee it off, that gets put aside for about 4 hours, and but that doesn't, that never changes a relationship. There's still a great respect and appreciation and a friendship between all of us.
Thank you.
And your next question comes from the line of Dan Hope with Anderson Independent.
My question's for Coach Stoops. Coach, would you look back at last year's game at all, and do you use it for anything, even from a motivational standpoint?
Well, I mean, you look back and even though Deshaun Watson wasn't playing, that part of it's a little bit different. All the run game with him is so challenging to deal with. So that part will be different. But there's enough games here this year, of course, to watch and study. But we'll look at definitely. There's things that pertain to last year that we have to correct and be better and improve on. And so, of course, we'll pay very close attention to last year in every part of the game.
Thanks, Coach.
And your next question comes from the line of John Hoover with Tulsa World.
Yeah, hey, for Bob. The statement you made earlier on ESPN I thought was interesting. You said in 17 years you haven't had a team that practiced as well as this one, and in 17 years you haven't had a team that improved as much from day one until the end of the season. Can you maybe describe a little bit of what went into those improvements? Just kind of generalize, you talked about guys' leadership and things like that, but anything stand out to you?
Well, just the improvement. First, I'll start with the offense. An inexperienced and young offensive line in 3 of the 5 positions grew up and got better, made great improvement as we worked our way through the year. Same thing receiver-wise, a unit that was inexperienced and young in a lot of ways, hasn't played a lot, continued to get better and improve. The running game started, guys communicating and identifying and who were blocking all started to get better, and we started to execute that in a better way. I thought defense, same thing. In particular, the secondary grew up and, really in the early middle part of the year and started tackling better, started, making more plays and so that was the improvement, and it was, it's noticeable, and the guys, the way they practice and push themselves, that allowed us to make the improvement.
Thank you.
And your next question comes from the line of Andrea Edelson with ESPN.com.
Hey, this question is for Dabo. You've talked about having to play the 10 weeks straight, and I'm just wondering, kind of impact that had on the team physically, and how many guys were playing banged up for you down the stretch?
I think we were pretty healthy as far as just injury standpoint, but certainly, I mean, you'd be foolish to think that a 10-game stretch doesn't take a little bit of a toll. I mean, especially when you're getting everybody's A game every single week, and 5 of our last 7 were on the road. I think that's a big part of it too, because your routine is different and just traveling and all that type of stuff, but getting home late at night. So it's just good to be able to give these guys a break. They need some time and to kind of get a little wind back in their sails. And but I don't have any doubt they'll be jacked up and excited once we get started with our bowl prep. And but we're very fortunate. That's a big reason why we had the success we had this year was we stayed relatively healthy. We went into this game, only 2 guys that were out were the 2 guys that were out the entire season, Mike Williams and Corinne Wiggins. So, we were very, very lucky in that regard. But we tried to be smart and practice the right way and take care of these guys and get them to the game each and every week. So it's good to give them a break, and we'll be smart as far as how we prepare here and make sure we're ready to go when it's time to play.
Thanks, Dabo.
Sure.
And your next question comes from the line of Jeff Snook with the Orange Bowl.
Hey, Bob, can you just go back? It's hard to believe it seems like 15 years ago, but 15 years ago in the same stadium, you win in your national championship and basically shutting out FSU, which was favored in that game. Can you just go back and maybe pull out a good memory or looking back on that, what you think about it now after all these years?
Oh, geez, there's a million things. I guess what sticks out probably as much as anything is, they were the leading scoring team in the country, and I might have set a record and total offense and scoring, and then we basically shut them out. They get the 2 points at the end of the game where we scored them. We snapped it over the punter's head, and then the one run play, 30 base, a little play up the middle to Quentin Griffin. He snuck in on everybody, and you always just remember him splitting the defense and running in for the touchdown. So I don't know. Those are just a couple things, but so that's a little while ago.
And I want to follow that up. You're the number 4 seed. You're in this playoff for the second year. Just go back 2 years. You'd be in a BCS bowl, not involved in a national championship hunt. Can you just talk about the system, how it's changed, and now you got an opportunity maybe you wouldn't have had 2 years ago through the beginning of the BCS?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're headed in a positive direction here, the way this is all played out, with 4 teams. There doesn't seem to be a lot of, consternation about the teams or this team got left out. So I think we're heading in a good direction. I think it's been, last year and the way, the viewership and the TV coverage was really positive for everybody. So I think it's going in a really positive direction. I think what us as coaches, I'm not speaking for all coaches, but I think you just have to be careful going from 4 to 8 or whatever, in that the bowl system for all the teams that are not in the Final 4 or Final 8 need to exist. It needs to be positive and continue, because I think that's been good and healthy and positive for college football overall, and you wouldn't want that to go away and all of a sudden now you're just in a whole playoff system.
On the flip side, can you just comment on what it would be like, say, if Clemson's number 1, we were in the BCS right now, you'd have 3 arguments right behind them, and I imagine today there'd be a lot of controversy.
Yeah, that's probably fair to say. That's a good point. So I think we're moving in a good direction here, and I think it's the right thing. And you got a great point there. There'd be all kind of debate right now if between who should be in and who shouldn't. So again, we're heading in a positive direction.
Good. Thanks, Bob.
And your next question comes from the line of Kieran Ebe.
Yeah, Dabo. Hi, Dabo. Okay.
Yes.
Dabo, sorry. I remember asking you on the Bowl teleconference a year ago about Deshaun Watson, and as excited as you were, obviously, about him, you also knew he was a little raw and had a lot of development ahead of him. I just wondered if you could take me through that development and just how much better he is this year as compared to this time a year ago.
Well, I mean, there's no greater teacher than experience. And this time a year ago, he was just trying to win the job and assert himself as the guy and become a leader of the guys as a true freshman. He's just at a whole nother level this year. An off season, he's a lot stronger and bigger than he was last year. Obviously, he's healthy, but just his confidence in himself because of the success he had last year, and then the work he put into the off season. And then the biggest thing is he's just become the leader of the team. He's really asserted himself that way. So it was just a whole different deal for him this year. And he's, great players are at their best in crunch time. And you rise to the occasion, and that's what he's done all year long for this team. So he just has a lot of confidence, and he prepares just relentlessly for the opponent and just takes complete ownership in what we're asking him to do, and just doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Really, really just a great competitor and an even better person. So he's still got some improving to do. I think another off season is going to be huge for him, but he's as good as there is out there, that's for sure.
Thank you.
And your next question comes from the line of Eric Boynton with Spartanburg Herald Journal.
Yes, this is for Coach Stoops. I know, obviously, at this point in time, Coach, you don't need any extra motivation in any way, shape, or form. But did you get any sense at all that your kids, when the announcement was made, maybe kind of relished the chance to get another shot at Clemson after last year, and maybe even getting a shot at Clemson because they are the last undefeated team and number one?
Well, I think everything's motivation. They are number one, have been a long time. They have, I think, the longest winning streak, right? 16. They've beat us bad just a year ago. We have a chance to, if you win, to move on to a national championship. We have our own motivation outside of that. So you find motivation in all of it, So surely, common sense, tells you all of that.
And your next question comes from the line of Peter Burke with WPOG.
Hello, Coach Stoops. I'm wondering, could you speak at all? Were you disappointed by the drop off from 3 to 4 at all? Or did you prefer to play Alabama, or because you have been outspoken about the SEC in the past?
I haven't been outspoken about the SEC. I was asked a question. It's getting boring now, about 3 years ago, and I had a legitimate answer. And we've played several SEC teams since. So there's, when does that ever go away? I don't know. But, no, I could care less about 3 or 4. You're going to play. If you're good enough to win, you're going to have to play the next best team that won the next game. So you're not avoiding anybody once you get in this situation. So so in the end, this is it's fine the way it's ended up.
And your next question comes from the line of Barry Trammell with the Oklahoman.
Dabo, the two semifinals seem to match teams of somewhat similar styles. If you were playing Michigan State or Oklahoma was playing Alabama, it'd be very divergent styles. But this kind of matchup, does that help a team in bowl preparation? Does it hurt a team? What's it like when you're playing somebody fairly similar to you in style?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just, what kind of personnel they have. And they got great personnel regardless of what the style is. We in college football, I think that's what makes college football so exciting and great is you see so many different things from week to week. I mean, just right here in our league, we'll see the triple option, and then we're seeing, the power from Boston College, and then it's the spread the next week from somebody else. So we have to prepare all year long for a lot of different things, but they do a lot of similar things that we do. But you got to execute. You got to be able to stop those things, and nobody has really stopped Oklahoma very well all year long, especially this quarterback and the job that he's done. So this will be a huge challenge for us. And if you were playing one of the other teams, same thing. I mean, they're where they are because people have had a hard time, beating them. So everybody has their philosophy in place, and it's just about, executing on that day and winning your matchups versus whatever, schematic philosophy they have.
Okay, and your last question comes from the line of John Hoover with Tulsa World.
Dabo, obviously different teams and the quarterbacks themselves massively different from last year's game, but how do you get your guys to avoid the temptation of looking at that 46 and thinking, hey, you got this?
Well, they'll watch the tape, and, we're a different team too. A lot of our guys from last year, they're not here. A lot of these guys didn't get to play in that game. And, the big thing I always tell our guys, it's never as good as it seems. It's never as bad as it seems. I've been on the other side of that a few times myself where, your team is at least evenly matched, but all of a sudden you have some crazy turnovers and the momentum goes against you. And next thing you know, you're behind the 8 ball and the game plan goes out the window. And I've been on both sides. We certainly we had a great day that day last year, but that was a very evenly matched game. It just got away from Oklahoma with some turnovers and things like that. But that's football. But those things don't win for you. Last week's plays don't win this week, and last year's success doesn't win this year. This is a new team. They're a new team, and we've had a great season. They've had a great season. This will be 2 Final Four teams playing high level of football, and it'll come down to a few plays. It really will. So I don't have any issue at all. These guys have great respect for Oklahoma. I don't know how you can't. This is the winningest program out there since like the 40s. So they've when we turn the tape on, our guys, they know what they're looking at. They understand and have great respect for other great players, and Oklahoma's got a ton of them. So this will be a game that we won't have any problem getting their attention for this one, that's for sure.
All right, thanks, Dabo.
Sure.
Now we'll turn the call back over to Mr. Larry Hall.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone, for being on the call today, especially Coach Swinney and Coach Stoops. Just a reminder, credentials and hotel reservations, log on to www.orangebowl.org/pressbox to apply there. And we look forward to seeing you all down here on New Year's Eve. Thank you very much. That'll conclude the call.
Hey, Bob, I'll see you down there, man. Y'all have a great Christmas.
All right, Dabo. See you now. See you, everybody.
Good.
Thanks.